But yeah, so thank you for coming. And thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Today, Jess Shannon's going to talk to us about her debut novel, Cleaner. And it's very casual, and we've got lots of questions. If you want to chip in at any point, just chip in. You don't have to put your hand up or anything. Yeah, we'll make a start.
Is there any way we can turn that off? It's quite loud.
There isn't, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay, I'm going to have
It's
to
so noisy.
block it out. It's all right.
Annoyingly, they control it from Central in Worcester.
That's silly, isn't it?
They just don't let us. Yeah, they decide how cold or hot we get to be, essentially. It's really weird. But right, yes.
It's a bit like, you know how like branded bars, like All Bar One, right?
Yeah.
In every All Bar One in the country, they're all playing the exact same song as we speak.
Really?
They all have the same playlist. So all of these brands, like they curate the atmosphere.
Yeah.
It's kind of like globalization. Like they've all like, what's the word? Like homogeny of culture. Like
Yeah.
so all the All Bar Ones are playing exactly the same playlist
At the same time.
In this kind of
really
robotic.
grim,
It is grim, isn't it?
Yeah, mate, it's really like dystopian.
It is a bit.
So you grew up in Birmingham, is that right?
Yeah, so I grew up in Bordesley Green, which is near Small Heath.
Oh, right.
Just by Heartlands Hospital.
Yeah.
And I grew up there until I was about 15. And then we moved out to Solihull.
Yeah.
And I've been there ever since.
Oh, brilliant. You're our second author from Solihull. We had Bill Wood in, who writes Teen Slashers, and he lives and works over in Solihull.
Cool.
Could you describe Cleaner for us? It's very hard to describe.
So it's about a nameless woman who drops out of a PhD in art or art history, or I don't know, I didn't decide. Something to do with art. And it's the kind of, she's sort of overqualified and underemployed. So she's got all these qualifications, but not very many skills. Or she's got an inflated ego. And it's this sense that, you know, it's the kind of graduate conundrum of, I've got all these skills and nobody wants me.
Yeah.
So she becomes obsessed with cleaning to kind of regain a sense of control, you might infer. And then she becomes a cleaner at an art gallery. And then she ends up standing in for the life model. And then a woman paints her and she becomes obsessed with the woman who paints her. But that is a very loose kind of premise. But really, it's not a very plotty novel.
Yeah.
I suppose you've got to imagine, I was at uni, I was studying creative writing, and I had it's a COVID novel, really. So
right.
I finished my degree in COVID. I was supposed to go to London to study stage and screenwriting, but the course was designed around people, and the playwrights would write things that the acting students would perform, but you can't do that in a pandemic. So I was like, I can't do that. Yeah. And then Warwick offered me a discount to do a master's with them in prose, and I was like, yeah, okay. So this was my dissertation, or the first 20,000 words of it was my dissertation. But it is insane. Because I was insane. Because COVID made me insane. Like it's a book about someone who is really struggling with her interpersonal skills and is kind of listless, stuck.
Yeah.
All these kind of things that I think at the time I probably wouldn't have acknowledged it, because I think all the best, if you write to an aesthetic or thematic zeitgeist, if I'd have sat down like I want to write a COVID novel, it would have been bad. But looking back, I think it's very much the product of somebody who was surviving, you know, COVID being weird. It's a weird book from a weird point in history, I think.
Full of a lot of anxiety and...
Yeah. I mean, a lot of commentary. It's a stressful read. Not stressful, but it's a bit, I don't know, you've read it, you can say it's not normal, is it?
No, it's very unusual. I loved it, it's brilliant. But it's very it's
frenetic.
Yeah.
There's no paragraphs or chapters, so things just happen. Yeah,
it's very like emotionally, like whatever she thinks you hear, very open and quite brutal.
And detached. Like there's a sense that everything happens and nothing means anything. I was thinking about Camus a lot. So that kind of nihilism and existential which I think a lot of young people face in the world today and throughout history. But I suppose I was at university learning all about how a novel is constructed, like the 3-act structure and the inciting incident and Freytag's triangle, and I find it really boring. And not boring, that's a lie. That was hiding an insecurity of actually I don't know how to do it. I find plot really hard. I find plot really, really hard. And I think to craft a beautiful plot is quite alchemic. Like when writers get it right, it can be brilliant. And I felt insecure and I couldn't do it. So I wrote an anti-plot novel where everything happens, but there's no shape.
Right.
Or perhaps there is some loose structure. Like there is, I didn't completely, a narrative is connected events, right? So you can't not have any plot, but I was trying to actively avoid plots.
Like foreshadowing and structure of
I was really trying to. It was very much a kind of. I suppose they say there's two kinds of writers. There's the people that plan things within an inch of their life with their Excel spreadsheets and every beat of the story, and then there's people who sort of pants it and just go with the flow. And it was very much a go with the flow.
I struggle completely with the opposite problem of I plan everything and have everything set up in the plot. I'm rubbish at making actual human beings that feel alive, which is completely, the main character of this feels completely human and alive, and it feels very personal.
I think all good writing. I'm not saying it's. I really hope this isn't the best thing I do, because otherwise, what's the point? But I think all successful, and I think some of this is successful and some of this is flawed. I think it's important to admit that. I don't know. We were having a conversation about marketing your book and yourself as a product, and I find that really uncomfortable. And I find it really hard to kind of be assertive about what went well. So I think there's lots of this I'm really proud of, and there's things that I think are flawed about it. I forgot what I was saying. What was the question?
How she's very sort of open and vulnerable.
Oh yeah, I think all good writing you have to give a little bit of yourself. Or you have to sacrifice something. It's sort of like, I don't know. I believe that everybody has a book in them that only they can write.
Yeah.
And if you're not emotionally giving something, then the work's going to be cold. So, I mean, it's not me. It's not. But you have to. It's sort of like letting blood. I think you have to sort of give something.
Yeah. Would you say it was sort of stream of consciousness?
Yeah, very much so. So when I was trying to, this is the first 20,000 words of my dissertation, and I was going to all my supervisor meetings, and I couldn't produce anything. So every week I would sort of send something new, and it was COVID, so like I couldn't see them on the screen because my laptop had broken. So I was just listening to them, and I just couldn't get it moving past like a few thousand words. I just didn't care enough about it. And I think that's a sign. If you're not interested in revisiting it, then and you're bored by it, then it's not good. Like you need to be interested in rereading it. So I just couldn't get something moving. And then my supervisor was like, "Oh, what you've written here reminds me of this book, and it's called Petit Fleur by an Argentine writer called Argentine."
I think I've heard both.
Yeah.
I don't know.
A writer from Argentina called Hervilio, and it was a book that had no paragraphs, stream of consciousness, about cleaning, and I used that I copied it, not copied it, but I took thematic and stylistic cues. So every time I would get stuck, I would turn to Petit Fleur, turn to a random page and steal a word or a sentence starter.
That's brilliant.
It's a book about domesticity and a house husband who but it's also about murder and death as well. So like a lot of the ideas sort of bled into this, but I actively courted stealing from that book in a non-plagiarist way, I hope.
Used it as a bit of a pattern.
Yes, and so I really did use it as a blueprint. And a kind of
being in position to write in that way as well, rather than the whole box.
Yeah, it was a different way of copying. I think everything is imitation, isn't it? And I think with I'm trying to write another one now. This is a 2-book contract, but I didn't write anything for a year and a half after getting the 2-book contract, and I had a really scary email being like, "Where's book 2?" And I was like,
stressful.
Don't have it. I'm busy. I like doing. It's important as well, I think, to have lots of things other than writing in your life.
Yeah.
And I love side quests. And I love doing anything but write. If that makes, I love writing, but I also love procrastinating it to do things. Because I think with this as well, every time I got stuck, I would just live a bit longer and something weird would happen, and then I could write about it. So, but yeah, this. I was saying earlier about how I wrote this when I was young and crazy and stuff, but all the tangents you're hearing is actually me going on tangents now. I'm trying to imitate a different book now for my second one, and it's a very different process. And I think I've discovered that's the way that I write, by copying something else.
Yeah,
with
just
intention.
Find a sort of spark in another book, and then
I think I was saying this at the Heath. If a novel is a house, some houses I just love to explore and like say, oh, this is really beautiful, and blah, blah, blah. And then some houses I'm like, I want to know how you built this, and I think those books I want to imitate.
Yeah. So you don't have to, every book you like,
Every book I like isn't one I want to imitate, but some books I want, as in a kind of it's a kind of academic exercise to write a book. So some books I'm like, I want to know how this was constructed to create the same thing. But I think there are two different types of writers, and this is something that somebody mentioned it once at uni. It really stuck with me. I always think about novels as houses and short stories as doll houses. Everything's there in a doll's house. Yeah. Just in miniature. So a novel and a short story, like Alice Munro, she does fantastic short stories that could be novels, but they're still miniature and perfect. But like some writers, they build the whole house really quickly, and then they move things around. Oh, the bedroom could be here, and no, if we move the living room down this way, and then we could have a stairway. And then some people write a novel like, I'm just going to perfect the front door. And then when the front door's perfect, I'm going to move on to the hallway. And when the hallway's perfect, I'm going to... And there's different ways of doing it. I think the second way is the way I wrote this one. So I made I made the beginning so perfect before I could add a little bit more. And then I would go over it again, add a little bit more. And go over it again, add a little bit more. And the way the way I would test to see if it was good or good enough is if I was interested rereading it. And if I got bored, something needs to change. I think that's my own personal metric. I think a lot of, like, certainly me when I was writing when I was younger, it was that. And then if I just write this bit, and then I'll get to the really exciting bit. No. All of it's got to be interesting.
Yeah, because the reader has to read the bits you're not interested in to get to the exciting bits.
So every bit has to be the exciting bit. I've yapped on.
No, that's what you're here for. That's great. That sounds like it's a process that's very well suited to sort of writing without a set plot designed out ahead of time as well, because you've
got to discover it. I mean, if I know what's going to happen, I'm bored. I need to find out what's going to happen. I didn't know how it was going to end when I started. And with the one I'm writing at the moment, really early days, and it's really, I find it really hard. It's really hard. And I've got no idea how it's going to end. No idea.
That's good though.
It is. I think it's good. But I've got friends who are very much like, they have to know it all before they do it. And I find that, I don't know, I find that hard. I don't know how you're excited to write it if you know what's going to happen, if you know everything's going to happen.
I've sort of done it the other way, where you write the whole thing in a mad rush and then go back and try and fix all the problems. And the issue with that is then you get bored of it, doing it over and over again, and you don't remember what's in which draft and that sort of thing, and it gets very bitty.
That way seems more efficient though. The drafting method seems more efficient. One of my tutors at uni, Sarah Moss, I say tutors, she never taught me. I went to one of her lectures and I really regret not taking her module. Anyway, apparently I heard a rumour, and this might not be true. She writes a whole novel, then deletes it, and then writes it again, and the important stuff stays.
There's a thriller author, Gillian McAllister, so she does the same thing, where she'll
insane, isn't it?
She'll do it whole thing, and then whatever doesn't stick can't have been that good, is sort of the logic, I suppose.
It makes sense, but I could never do that.
We had Ben Aranovich in here, the fantasy author, and somebody asked him if he writes an outline before he starts a book, and he was essentially just like, he said, F off, I'm not writing 5,000 words of an outline. And then it's not going in the book. That's 5,000 words of work that I'm not getting paid for, essentially.
Yeah. I think it's different in like the film industry. You have to produce like treatments and Bibles and stuff. You have to like evidence it with all your kind of supplementary documents before you're allowed to write something. And I find that really silly.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in that.
It's like they're writing the trailers before they can...
Yeah, they're right. I think the issue with kind of treatments and plot summaries and what did you call it? I can't remember.
Like an outline.
Outline. That's not for me. That's for that's for marketing and publishing, and that's the people trying to sell it, or the people trying to squabble over who gets to publish it. That's not for me.
Yeah,
it's not helpful to me.
Did you have to submit a sort of a brief idea of what book 2 was going to be before you started on book 2, or are you just going to give them book 2 and be like, do you like?
I think so. Yeah, I think the stipulation was like the publisher was like, it has to be good, but other than that, you can do what you like.
Oh, brilliant!
But again, like with freedom.
Yeah.
Creative paralysis. But I think I know what I'm doing, but I don't know. It takes a long time. Like this is only a short book. I know it looks bigger, but they did big font. The first 20,000 words I did during my masters. I had the time to write, and then I, started training for my job, and 2.5 years passed, and I wrote 15,000 words, which is not a lot. And then I got my agent, and then she was like, I want it to be 50,000 words, but in 2 months. And I was like, yes, of course, no problem. And then I did the extra 15,000. So it just shows that sometimes creativity is not linear. And I do believe now, having got a bit older, and the idea of dedication and consistency, that, it is important to try and write regularly, but regularly doesn't mean every day. Regularly doesn't mean you have to write the same amount every day. Regularly can mean just sitting with what you're writing, or other kind of reading, or writing isn't just writing, it's thinking and reading. So there's different ways to kind of be consistent around it. I think, is it Hemingway or something that was like 500 words every day or something? Yeah,
a lot of them are very...
Yeah, and I've tried to do that, and it just, I think with my work as well, it was just too exhausting. So I'd rather like spend 6 months doing nothing and then write 10,000 words in a single night. Yeah, same amount of words. Yeah, if it's not fun, there's no point. I was a real hedonist when writing this, and I didn't write unless I really wanted to. Yeah, and sometimes, and I had so much fun writing it because it is full of nonsense and jokes. Yeah, and madness. And first and foremost, I wrote to make myself laugh or to amuse myself, and that was nice. And that comes across because it's a proper like high energy sort of novel. I thought. Yeah, high octane. Yeah, very mad. Yeah, and I went like, so I had to write an accompanying essay to go with my dissertation. Oh, to like explain your thinking. So I had to kind of admit in my essay that I took lots of stylistic cues from another book, but I also wrote a lot about George Saunders, and I'd read his book about writing, all of his like lectures on the Russian short story classics. Right. Swim in the Pond in the Rain. It's a great book. Would recommend. But he talks a lot about microstructure and how each sentence is a series of incremental pulses to kind of carry you through. And I think that's really important. I try and carry that. Each sentence has to be a kind of micro structure in itself. Like every sentence or every little bit has to have its own journey. So I really carried that with this. So there's no kind of 3-act structure, but every sequence is its own incremental pulse. Makes it really interesting to read, because a lot of books, I read a lot of trashy thrillers and that sort of thing. I love trashy books. I love them so much. And I love literature, but I also agree with you that you need a balanced diet, and you need to read something philosophical. You need to read something kind of modern. You need to read something trashy. It's like you need some chocolate and crisps with your vegetables and fibre. Yeah, and you can tell from those books are written mostly in a plot first formulaic sort of sense. Yeah, they've got the main bad guy that they need to have. This needs to happen. There needs to be a big shootout, that sort of thing. So on a sentence level, a lot of them aren't as interesting. So I think that makes Cleaner really interesting to read in that it feels very different. I think the prose was really important to me, like the right way of saying it. or
Yeah.
the right words. And the voice, I think. I prioritised voice and character, as you say, over plot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So where did your sort of idea for the main character come from? Did you just sort of start writing and she emerged? Or?
I think so. I put in as a joke, in the author bio bit, I put how I hate cleaning. Because I thought it was funny. And that's sort of half true. I am clean, but I'm not a kind of clean freak, which I think some people might think when I'm reading this.
Yeah.
What I am interested in is the aesthetic of cleaning. And like, if you look at my kind of social media algorithm, there's a lot of, let's pack my lunch for work, or let's vacuum my floor, and let's organize. I don't know. I think cleaning and class is really interesting. So, you know, let's decant all of my pasta into glass tubs, and let's decant all of my washing liquid into this beautiful vase. Like it's completely pointless. And it is a kind of class signifier. The idea that, you know, cleaning's not enough. It's got to be art.
Yeah.
And I think cleaning and art and domestic spaces and how people, I don't know. I think like gender as well. Like, I think Judith Butler's really interesting. The idea of gender being inscribed on the body or ritualistic. So that kind of. The baby comes out and the first ritual, it's a girl. That's the first kind of ritualistic, you know, in the same way that like marriage is meaningful, obviously, but it's given meaning by the words we give it, and nothing has changed in the relationship after you say I do. It's still the same, but something is different from the ritual. Do you see what I mean? But I think that because there's a little bit of sort of gender non-conformity in there, so there's a scene where she goes to a Pride and Prejudice themed gender reveal party, dressed as Mr. Darcy, because I thought it was funny. But again, that kind of the idea of performing femininity. So the character's queer as well, so she has affairs with both men and women. But when she's usurping a woman's life to be a kind of girlfriend in a heterosexual performance, I think sort of. The whole book is sort of her sort of trying on different costumes of people she might be and not fitting in, or trying to perform. I think, again, the idea of performing yourself into a version of yourself is quite interesting. And when you're, you know, somebody at university or coming out of university and expected to enter the quote unquote real world, you know, we all put on clothes and perform ourselves into versions of ourselves. And I think it's a liminal space being that age, and I think that really comes through. But what was the question again?
just sort of where she came from, really. But
I think it was all voice. Yeah, all voice. And I love voice-driven fiction. I love like epistolary novels, like Bridget Jones' Diary. I love Adrian Mole. I love those kind of like diary voice novels where they're trying to make themselves laugh as well as the reader. And a diary is a weird one because the diary is not written for an audience. It's written, the audience is yourself. So when you write a diary, you're amusing yourself. And I think that's true with the character. She's trying to amuse and irritate and show off to herself because she's alone.
Yeah, and it's got a very sort of conversational sort of tone to it as well, which I really, really enjoy.
Yeah, I think that's where it comes from, that my love of epistolary and voice.
Now, I thought it was interesting as well that she's sort of, there are a few moments where she's talking about how she's basically invisible when she's a cleaner, and people just sort of look at her as what she can do for them, kind of thing. And how obviously that's gendered as well. Just it's not plot driven, so it's allowed to be driven completely by her experience, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, I suppose like I was saying before, like creativity needs borders. Yeah. Right. So instead of just saying write a book, you've got to have rules for yourself. So the rules I had with this were no paragraphs, because every time I started a new paragraph, I couldn't carry on. So each sentence had to lead to the next one. Yeah. So one rule. It's kind of like when Twitter used to have like 25 characters. Yeah. Like that forces you to be creative within those boundaries, right? So the boundaries were no no paragraphs and no 3-act structure. So I had to be creative around how I made things happen. And voice was a part of the way to keep it moving.
The lack of paragraphs makes it very sort of a little bit claustrophobic, I felt. Is that
a lot of the when I checked my own Goodreads page, because I'm, human. I think because it came out in America the other week, and a lot of the American reviewers, I think, were like, "Is this a strategy to make sure people finish it or something?"
Oh, right.
Maybe.
You just find it hard to know when to stop reading and reading like that. It makes you want, it's like a torrent in a positive way. You just want to keep on reading it. I just find it, I almost felt rude, like, speak now, I'm just going to stop there. But I've never read a book with no paragraphs before, so I was just like, I think I've got to about page 20 now. I was like, where's the next chapter? Oh, there's no chapters either. I've never read a book like that.
It's a trap. It was pure. It was a functional thing of I didn't know how to stop. Or every time I tried to stop, every time I started a new paragraph, they were like, I couldn't do it. But I think France. I just had an email saying France have bought it, and France want to add in paragraphs. And I'm like, okay, you can, but I'm not doing it.
Right.
No offense, but I'm not doing it. They can have their own paragraph then if they want paragraphs.
Oh, weird.
It reminded me as well, sorry.
No, go on.
It reminded me a little bit of Sally Rooney in a
That's so interesting. Yes, I have. I've read Normal People and Intermezzo, and Beautiful World, Where Are You? I couldn't finish Conversation with Friends. I found it really dull for some reason. But everyone says that. Some people say that's the best one. Sorry, I interrupted you. What were you saying?
It was literally just a couple of comments. It reminded me a little bit. I think because I've read Sally Rooney, I have to admit I found it a little bit easier to like get into that mindset of no speech marks, no paragraphs.
Oh, I see.
If I hadn't read Sally Rooney before, I would have been a bit like, I don't understand. I'm not sure what's going on here. So, but in a good way.
Thank you.
I wasn't sure whether.
I know Sally Rooney doesn't use speech marks and things, but it was because Havilio in the Petit Fleur didn't use them either. So I wasn't imitating Sally. I was imitating Havilio, but I think maybe it is a kind of millennial Gen Z modern writer quirk. Maybe I don't know. It wasn't a conscious choice. I think part of it is also laziness as well, like not having to put the
right.
Maybe. I don't know. I think as well. I suppose I like that the direct speech and reported speech. Direct speeches, there's no doubt about what the character said, but reported speech, there's a little bit of doubt around, whose eyes are we looking through. So again, I think there's something to say about how, because the narrator is deluded and incapable of empathizing with other people's experience. She's very self-involved. So again, there is a kind of distortion, perhaps, I suppose.
It works really well as well when you say, there's no paragraphs and there are no speech marks. It sounds like absolute chaos, but it reads really well, and you can go right through, and there's no, I don't know, did you get any resistance to that from the publisher?
Not to the lack of speech marks. There was some resistance to the paragraphing, but my publishers have been great. They were like, would you consider paragraphs? And I said no. And they went, fine.
Brilliant.
And again, when France have been like, we'll publish it with paragraphs, I'm just happy to be published. So I'm not going to say no, but I'm also...
Will you read it and see where they put the paragraphs?
Well, I wish my French was good enough. I did love learning French. I wish I'd taken A-level French. I miss it. I might, but I don't know. I don't know. I haven't read it since I last edited it. I spotted a mistake. There's one paragraph in there, but I can't remember where it is because I looked at the American version. Yeah. Because they sent me a proof to my house, or they sent me the hardback version to my house, and I found a paragraph. No. So I don't know what's worse, having some paragraphs or just one paragraph.
You just have to come up with an artistic reason for that one paragraph.
Yeah, just something deep about that one paragraph. I had a strop. I had such a strop. I went around the house. I had such a strop. Yeah. What's the significance of this paragraph? No, it's a mistake.
Is it hard working on book 2 now that book 1 is out there and people are reading it and you're getting feedback and you're getting really lovely reviews for it as well?
Yes,
Is
I'm very
that
lucky.
is that adding a lot of pressure? Because obviously book 1, nobody's read it.
Yeah,
you know.
there is a sense of artistic privacy.
Yeah.
Nobody knew I was writing this.
Yeah.
I didn't want anybody to know. I was very much in a kind of lovely kind of private secret thing.
Yeah.
Like, and I think there is a difference now between being a private author, artist, whatever you call it, and a emerging, more public one. But
Yeah.
I think the pressure is, for me as an individual, it's not, I mean, I will always try and do my best. That's all I can do. I think the pressure I'm feeling is to write something that is not a cheap copy of that, if that makes sense. 'Cause I think if books are puzzles, I've solved that one.
Right.
And I need to solve the one I'm currently doing. I couldn't. I think it would be really easy for me to write easy to write another stream of consciousness novel, and I think I need to do something different to prove, like, to myself I can.
Yeah.
So I think, like I was saying earlier, I felt insecure about not knowing how plot works. So I'm making a real conscious effort to plot this next one with mixed results. I think you're right that there will be some pressure. I think just people in my life that know me now going, "Oh, how's book 2 going?" And I'm like, "I don't know, it's not going well at all." Which I didn't get in the first one, but I'm quite stubborn and oppositional. So if they say, "Where's book 2? Where's book 2?" they'll get it when they get it.
Fair enough. Was it quite
this bold? I just realised that I forgot you're filming. I hope my publishers, the publishers, don't look at this and go, "Who does she think she is?"
I can send it to you if you like, and you can request some bleeps and things.
There'll be like a cut, or like redacted.
Was it quite? How did it feel when you were first showing the book off and showing it to your family and friends and everyone?
Oh,
because of how chaotic and emotional and open it is.
It is a bit embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's a bit embarrassing. And I think I had to do a lot of caveats of, it's not me.
Right.
It's not me. That being said, some of the stuff I did take inspiration from my life.
Yeah.
And I think the difficult thing is that people that know me know which bits I stole, and then people who don't know me as well assume it's all true.
Oh, okay.
I did a talk at a bookshop in London, and they kept saying you about the character, and I had to be like, oh, I didn't actually say anything, but I was thinking, you can't conflate the two. Just because it's told in first person and it's stream of consciousness doesn't mean it's automatically me. But yeah, so some of the kind of the expositional or the frameworky things are based on things that did happen. Like as I said earlier, I would just wait for something interesting to happen or something surreal, and I would just input it or a version of it. But yeah, in answer to your question, it's really weird, lovely, but it can be quite exposing, and it is a book that probably makes you go, oh, I bet the author's quite strange, or a book, and I'm not ashamed of it at all, but it's that kind of when people go, so did you really do that? And I'm like, no, not quite.
Yeah. So did you have like your mum and dad being like coming at you with a list of misdemeanors? Just
yeah,
like,
my mum did go, it's not me. There's a mother character. She was like, it's not me, is it? And I went, no, mum, it's not. But yeah, and I think I've got two brothers, and when they were reading it, one of them lives abroad, and I've just managed to get a copy to him, and I don't think he liked it. But my other brother, he was like, "Oh no, I recognise that. I was imagining our house and stuff." So that was quite nice. It has been lovely. People on the whole have been really, really polite and supportive. So I'm very, very lucky.
And what was your writing sort of history like before Cleaner? Was this the first novel you'd sort of finished, or?
I wrote a children's book when I was a child, or something when I was in sixth form. It's quite bad, but I'm very proud of it. I've not read it since.
Yeah.
But I wrote, it was probably about 40,000 words, like a novella type thing. And I wrote that. And it was part of my submission to get into Warwick Uni.
Oh, brilliant.
So that was nice. But this is the first, I think, novel length thing that I've finished, apart from that little novella.
Yeah.
I did a lot of short stories and some playwriting and screenwriting before, but nothing hugely finished.
Did you find writing short stories helpful in terms of
I think
developing your voice and that kind of thing?
Well, most university courses, or at least the one I did at Warwick, they really start you small. So you'd start with drabbles and flash fiction, and then you'd sort of build up your kind of. Because I think a lot of, I mean, I think I'm different to some other kind of writers that, write loads and stuff, juvenilia and stuff. I think, I don't know, I haven't got a massive output. I don't write a lot, and I haven't written a lot comparatively to some other people. But yeah, I think at uni, or if you're studying writing, starting small and then working a bit like the doll's house to the big house type thing.
Do you have any advice for people who are starting to write and they're really concerned about the sort of author's voice? Because this is very, they say voicey, don't they? This has got a very strong voice to it. How did you have the confidence to sort of develop that or find it? Or
there's two strands to this. One is, I think, kind of the mechanism or the mechanics of a voice. So making sure that it sounds right. So dialogue sounds right. If you read it out loud, does it sound right? Does the rhythm? Do you have variety in your sentence structure? Are the words you're choosing, do they sound good, or do the combination sound good? But I think that's the kind of mechanical thing of the voice. Does it sound right? Is that the right word? I think that's quite mechanical. Philosophically, in terms of the voice, and I suppose with the mechanics as well, choosing the right vehicle. So voice is really important whatever you read, whether it's first person or third person, like the omniscient or the kind of limited third person view, or whatever voice you're choosing. If it's some books, the voice is a vehicle for the plot, or I think working out what kind of story you want to tell or what your reader experience you want to be.
Yeah.
That kind of the drudgery of choosing the right combination of words on the page and making sure it sounds good and follows the right pattern. That's important. But philosophically, I think voice is. My advice would be, I don't know, what feeling do you want to evoke? And I think, again, it's a bit like what I said earlier about that bloodletting. You've got to give a bit of if human beings are kind of these three-dimensional things, like nobody's a two-dimensional person, everyone has different aspects of themselves. You have to sort of decide which aspect of yourself are you willing to give on this occasion. And the bit of yourself, you might not know what it is yet, but by the end of the novel, you'll understand yourself better. And I think imitation of voice is really important. Like I said earlier, with the kind of the diary stuff. I'm also a huge Jane Austen fan, and I think she's a master of voice. And she's a master of kind of guiding you through. The voice is the kind of the guide, isn't it? So I suppose that's another way of thinking about it. I don't know. That's a really good question, and I will be thinking about it for the rest of the day, and I'll be thinking about my answer and whether or not it was the right one and what I actually think.
Would you recommend? You obviously went to Warwick University and did your masters there. Would you recommend that as a sort of structured way to learn how to be a better writer? And what did the formal education side of things do for you?
Well, I think you don't need to go to university to be a good writer. I think the kind of the discipline of creative writing as an academic pursuit is something that hasn't really existed for a long time. Like, if we think about literature, literature as a medium of study, it used to be that kind of, rich men had careers and then they produced literature, and that was just something they did. Whereas now, I think like literature is something you can study at university. I think that's pretty recent, really, and creative writing, really. So I think it is an emerging field of academic interest, which is
Yeah.
exciting to be a part of if you wanted to go to university to study that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's essential. I think a good university course can accelerate your progress.
Right.
So I think it accelerated my progress, and it kind of introduced me to a community of writers
Yeah.
that some of them I'm still in touch with, and that's really, really nice. And also just, you know, it's a space like this where, you know, they invite writers to come and give talks and agents to come and give talks. And it's just interesting to learn about the industry and stuff. And I think, you know, it suited me. I love school. I love academia and, you know, turning up and making my notes. So I think it worked for me, but I don't think it works for everyone. And I think the course that I did was very much open to kind of literary fiction. So I think if you were trying to write something, you know, formulaic into a genre, like I'm not a genre person. So if you're a genre writer, I would seek out a university that supports genre fiction, because I don't think the course I did was necessarily interested in all of that.
Yeah.
There was some, but not all.
Yeah.
I don't know. I enjoyed it. I had a great time, but I don't know. I would. It's very expensive.
Yeah, getting more expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'd like to do another one. Like, as you say, I mean, I don't, just because I've done one doesn't mean I still haven't got stuff to learn.
Yeah.
I think reading a book about writing and how to write well, a good one can be really, really, could be a university course in a nutshell in some ways.
Yeah. Would you have any advice for example, we run our writers group here. Do you have any advice for people who go to writers groups and that kind of thing as to what makes for good feedback for an author?
Ooh.
Because that's always a bit of we're too nice quite often. It's a struggle to get them to be critical sometimes. So sometimes I'll sneak in a short story from someone who's dead and famous and be like, just be brutal, tear them apart, because they won't mind.
I think, yeah. I think too nice is always is an interesting one, because again, sometimes you write something and it's very from the heart, and then you share it and people don't have the reaction you wanted, and I think sometimes the thing you've produced has got to be ready to be shared. Sometimes it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean it's bad, it's just not ready yet. It means you need to sit with it longer. Like with this, took years of my life that nobody knew about it except me.
Yeah.
And maybe the person who marked it at university and forgot about it. No, that's not true. I did a talk at Warwick University recently, and he was like, I marked it.
Oh, brilliant.
And I was like, oh, that was you, because it's all anonymous, isn't it?
Yeah,
so that was nice. I don't want to say that, you know, that cruel to be kind, brutally honest. I don't think that's necessarily helpful.
Yeah.
And people, I think you should only give critical feedback to somebody who's interested in receiving it. Because once it's out in the world, like, you can't control how people respond to it. That's not your business.
Yeah.
It's not your job.
Yeah.
I don't know what the right answer is. I don't know if there is one. I think that, I suppose I would always go back to the coaching model.
Oh, okay.
So instead of saying, I think you should change this sentence, because you're not an editor. That's not what you're asking people to go to a writing club after, is it? The coaching model is always best of, tell me about this bit here. What were you trying to do?
Yeah.
Or tell me, or what are you trying to say here? Or why did you choose this word? Or I suppose if you're trying to coach somebody into producing something better, or coach somebody into writing more like themselves, because I think that's the goal, isn't it?
Right.
I think the coaching model is better because it allows people to take autonomy back over their work. Because what is scary is if you give something to a group and they all have something to say about it, and suddenly the work that you made in private is suddenly not yours anymore. Yeah. Whereas actually, I think the coaching model, it still gives the person who made it autonomy.
Yeah.
While still honouring their desire for feedback. Because again, it's that conflict of, I really want to share this, I want it to be better, but it's mine and I don't want people to look at it. Actually, I think the answer is the coaching model.
Yeah, that's brilliant. And as you say, you get them to sound like themselves rather than, pointing out things to make them sound like some other book that you liked, written by some complete stranger on the other side of the world.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a hypocrite because I've just spoken about writing like Covelio and copying. But there's a difference between. I think I've tried to write like myself using frameworks, but I think that's the answer. Writing like yourself. Like, how do you write like yourself? And I think if you're critiquing somebody's work, all the kind of writing rules still come into play. Like, that show don't tell, and all that. I can't remember it now, but all those sort of rules that you Google when you're supposed to be like, how do you write good? But I think write like yourself. On how do you, if you want to write like yourself, and then you want the person at the seminar or the group to write like themselves, and that's the goal, isn't it? Everyone to produce the stuff that they are meant to produce. Yeah.
Could you talk about your sort of journey to publication? How did you find the process of getting an agent, for example?
Okay.
There's a lot of stuff out there on the internet on how not to do this and that kind of thing, and it's always, a lot of it is very contradictory.
It is, and I don't know if people here are writers or trying to get an agent and all these sorts of things. If you've enjoyed me talking up to this point, I might make you hate me now because I've got a terrible story that makes people who are seeking agents and representation really cross.
All right.
So I finished my first draft of Cleaner. It's about 35,000 words, a novella, right? I have reached an end to it, and I've spent years on it, and I've thought, yeah, good, I might try for an agent.
Yeah.
I send off one application on a Saturday afternoon. So bear in mind, I finished the book in the morning.
Right.
I send off my application the same afternoon, on a Saturday afternoon. Monday evening, I've got a full manuscript request.
No way.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It is. And it's not normal.
Yeah.
So I can't pretend that I've got loads of tips about how to do it properly, because I did not do it properly. What you're supposed to do is make a big spreadsheet of all your agents that you'd like to target. You're supposed to send these applications out in batches. You're supposed to chase after 8 weeks or something, I think. Every agency wants something different, so you have to read their website to make sure you're applying in the way they want you to apply. I didn't do any of that. I picked an agency that, as well, I just read their website.
Yeah.
It seemed like a good fit. I applied. And it was really lucky as well. So I applied to a woman who was on maternity leave. So somebody else was checking her inbox. And it just happened to be that she chose to check it that morning.
Oh, brilliant.
So it was a mixture of luck and years of hard work of writing it.
And
so
it's your first best review, really, isn't it? Of just
I mean, I was thrilled to get a full manuscript request. Yeah. And then the next week we had a meeting and I agreed to be represented by her. Like she's left the job now, so I've got somebody else. But I was very lucky. Yeah. I think the best thing, what I remember from uni and stuff, is obviously being polite, applying in the way they want you to apply, proofreading it, but also, I don't know. I this is terrible advice, but I didn't try and pretend to be somebody I wasn't.
Yeah.
So. And I am a bit chaotic and fly by the seat of my pants. So I think that's why it worked. Yeah. Because I wasn't trying to... If I'd have started making my spreadsheet of who am I going to apply to first, and strategically, who do you think was the best fit? I don't think it wouldn't have worked for me.
Spending like £50 on a template from someone for a query letter and that sort of thing.
I just spent an afternoon doing it and
that's amazing.
It worked out. Don't pay anybody. If an agent, they don't ask for money. If they ask you for money, it's a scam. Yeah, that's something else that's important.
You see a lot of that with publishers as well.
Oh yeah, you shouldn't pay anything.
Yeah,
an agent gets 15%. That's the industry standard. An agent gets 15% of whatever you earn. Yeah. They only get paid when you get paid. So if they're asking for payment, they're a scam.
Right.
For agents. I was going to say anything else about agents?
I'm asking, because you worked in this part of dissertation, you had some critical feedback, like in those earlier drafts. Do you have any sort of advice for people that don't have that bank of people around them that will be able to offer good critical advice? So they've got their draft, they want to send it to an agent, but they maybe just want somebody to go over it before they send it, or do you think just blow it, just send it?
That's a really good question. So with this, the first 18,000 words, the only person who'd read it was, actually, I sent the first 2,000 words to my supervisor, who was like, yes, stick with this one. And I was like, okay. And I stuck with that one because it was my last meeting with my supervisor. I'd spent a term showing him different bits and bobs, and none of them were what this was. So it was, the way I used my supervisory sessions was more workshopping voice. And then once our last meeting was the first 8 pages of cleaner. And that's all he read. And then it got marked by somebody else, and they were the only people who'd seen it. So I didn't, because again, I think artistic privacy is important, or at least I'm not somebody who's like, will you check this draft for me? That's something that doesn't work. It works for a lot of my friends who are writers and authors and published authors, but it doesn't work for me. So I'm quite private. Until I think it's good enough, I'm not going to share it. And I think it's important as well that you don't share it too soon, or don't share it before it's ready. One, because your beta readers might get fatigued, because if they read the same thing over and over again, you're not getting that first reader experience that you want. So I think it's a really important thing to wait until, just to sit with it and wait. And that waiting might be years. Nobody read this for years, just me. Because I think, you are your best first critic, first of all. And that kind of internal metric of, am I bored yet? If I am, change it. And that's the most important thing. You were the best first reader, not. And again, picking the something I learned when I was in my first year at uni is that I give it to everybody to read, and then actually there was too many opinions, and I didn't care about all these people, or I didn't like all of them. I didn't care about their opinions, even if they didn't like it. I didn't like them. Then what's the point? So I actually don't share it. I suppose vet carefully who you're sharing it to. Do you trust their taste? Do you trust their opinions? If you're writing, like I write literary fiction, I'm not going to give it to somebody who doesn't read literary fiction. So choosing carefully who to give it to. Not giving it to too many people. Like for example, my boyfriend, I won't give him a book until it's published.
Oh, right.
He didn't read that until it's published.
Yeah.
Because I can't trust his opinion. Right. He's not going to tell me the truth.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he does tell me the truth. That sounds really bad. But in the drafting stage, he's not. I don't think he's a neutral party.
Right.
I'm not going to give it to my mom.
Is he
going to
be too encouraging, and then you?
Not too encouraging. Just I don't think he'd want to hurt my feelings.
Right.
So I don't think that's a trustworthy source. A critical friend, and not too many of them. And I suppose you've got to ask yourself, why am I doing it? Is it for validation of? Is it somebody to tell you I'm doing a good job? Is that helpful? Like, I don't know. I think you have to know why you're sharing it. If it's practical, like, could you read this? I've got a friend who I gave it to for him to pick out all my typos because he loves that stuff. Oh,
okay. Yeah.
So that was a reason why I shared one of the drafts. And this was after I got the deal. And so I was sort of, no, that's a lie. It was before I got my deal, but after my agent had picked it up. So I sent him a draft and he picked out all my kind of, when I missed a capital letter for proper nouns and stuff. Right. Like, he's that kind of reader. So he was useful, but for that reason. Obviously my agent at the time read it for the marketing reason, but I suppose, so this is a very roundabout way of saying you don't have to share it. And if you do want to share it, ask yourself why. I can talk for England, I can go.
No, it's interesting. How do you know when something is ready? Do you have to sort of finish it and put it in a drawer for a bit? I've had this thing before where I tried the agent thing, finished a draft, and it was like draft 5, and then I sent it off being all like, there's literally nothing else I can fix in this. This is great. This is exactly as it needs to be. And then 3 months later, I look at it and I'm like, this is the shit. This is terrible. What was I thinking?
I don't know. I think that's a really interesting question. I think when you're a writer, you have to be a bit deluded.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to be deluded because you are your own champ. I keep hitting the mic.
Oh, don't worry. Sorry.
You are your own champion. You are your biggest. You've got to G yourself up and say when you if you don't believe it's good while you're doing it, what's the point?
Yeah.
But also artists, like I talk about, I think in there, artists have low self-esteem, or they can have low self-esteem, but also have this ego and this sense of I'm a human being that is making something worth looking at or reading.
Yeah.
So it's that conflict is quite difficult. How do you know something's ready? Gut. But then, I suppose again, I think you're right in that sense that there's nothing more I can do to this.
Yeah.
Or just time, if you sit with it.
Yeah.
I don't think but also I'm a hypocrite because I thought I'd finished it, sent it for an agent, and it worked out on the same day. So there's no rules.
Right. Yeah.
I think this is not a helpful answer.
No, it's slightly depressing, and then there are no rules that you can follow and be like, if I do ABC, then I'll be successful. But then it's also inspiring in that if there are no rules, then you can kind of just do it your own way and see if it works.
Yeah. And I think I was in the very fortunate position in the sense that I got what I wanted, an agent, pretty immediately. And I've never had to be resilient in the way that, someone like yourself who's been applying for agents has had to been. So my admiration is more for you, really.
Oh, no.
People like you.
It's very easy to get ignored by email. It's not so bad.
Can I just ask, what would you do if somebody said to you, if you don't like this, why don't you do that? And you come to the end here, I think something else needs adding. And it might be the pressure of getting something published or not.
Yeah.
What do you do?
That's a really, really tough question. I spoke to somebody who had an age or had an offer of representation if they changed their ending, and they refused to do it. They said, no, I don't. I won't sign up if I have to change the ending. That's not the story I'm trying to tell. And I suppose that integrity and dignity around the story they were trying to tell, they were refusing to budge. I think the advice again is picking an agent that understands you and that you trust. So I trusted the person I signed with because I felt like she understood what I was trying to do. And then when I had my editor, the ending was different. Before the editor had some sessions with me.
Yeah.
So the editor I had, Jo Dingley, she was fantastic. And I think the editing in a sense was a bit like what I was talking about earlier with the coaching model of actually just asking questions of what are you trying to say here? Or what threads can we expose more from this tapestry? So I guess if somebody's giving you critiques and they want to hear your rationale, that's different to somebody telling you how it should be.
Right.
So, and again, ultimately, so when I got the publishing deal for this, my name's on it. It's my book. So the editor's not trying to take over. And the editor is offering suggestions that I don't have to take. So she made some suggestions that I didn't take because I didn't want to. So ultimately, it's your creative property and intellectual property. You have autonomy. I only took on the advice that I agreed with, and that is the best advice. Only take on advice from people or creative advice from people you trust, people you respect, and people who understand what you're trying to do. So in answer to your question, advice should be optional. And if you're accepting it, why are you accepting it? And if you're rejecting it, why are you rejecting it?
I went to a talk given by Mike Gale. He was talking about the publication of his first book. He sent his script off, came back. Very good, we love this. Could you just alter this? So he did what they suggested and sent it back. Another letter comes back. Yes, this is great. But could you just do it? Happened 11 times. So in the end, whose book was it?
Yeah, I think the debate around, I can't remember who it was now, but there was it? Isn't there like I can't remember who it was. There was a debate about whose intellectual property was it? If is it Tolstoy? So Tolstoy, did all of his writing, and his wife is the one that wrote everything up and typed it all up. And,
Oh, right, yeah.
she's the one who got him published. She visited the wife of another writer and asked her how did it happen. And she did all the compile. He wrote loads, right?
Yeah.
The only reason that he is who he is in the public eye and stuff is because she was organising everything, and she was interpreting, and she was his first reader, wasn't she? She was his editor in lots of ways. So again, whose intellectual property is it? I think the editing process is really important. And I think I forgot what I was going to say. I think you're right that there is a question to ask of whose book is it? And again, it's are you right? Like a part of the reason I imagine why I got this published stupidly fast, or what felt like to me a kind of really accelerated rate of publication, is because maybe it's fashionable or something, like marketable, weird girl fiction. Like, I don't know, that sense of, how original is it, and whose idea is it, and all these sorts of questions are really worth asking. But ultimately, your intellectual property is yours, and you should only do what you want to do.
Fair play to that person.
Are you going to make that your genre, or are you going to change as to how you feel?
I don't think I'll ever be. There's not enough money in writing to live on. I have a full-time job that's not in writing or publishing or anything like that. So I don't, unless I magically win a load of prizes, I don't think I think I'm going to be. This is going to be my side quest for a while. And I think I write literary fiction. I don't think I'm a genre writer. I'm not going to be somebody who writes crime or fantasy or sci-fi. I don't think that's going to be me. But I think I might incorporate some of those elements, maybe, if the mood takes me. But I don't think I can write this again because I've gotten older. And I think the older I get, the more I will change. So I think that I won't write genre fiction. I don't think that's for me, because genre is a promise you make your reader. So in a crime novel, you need a crime within the first 100 pages, right? And I find genre quite limiting for my creativity, as I said. So I like to feel my way and discover things. And I think that's why literary fiction is the best fit for me. But yeah, so with my second one, it will be what it will be. And I don't know what it is yet.
It's interesting that you say that it's not the sort of book you would write again, because I used to do film history and that sort of thing, and did a project on The Exorcist by asking the people who saw it at the time what they thought of it or something. And it was interesting that people reacted differently to it when they were the same age as the little girl in the film compared to when they were the same age as the mother. So the idea that art changes as you age really interests me, but I'd never considered it from the point of view of the creator before.
Yeah, I think if I'd have tried to write something like this at the age I'm at now, it wouldn't work. I just couldn't think I could do it. Yeah. That's
fascinating though. You've got a time capsule of what you were like and what you were interested in, and what you wanted to say at this particular age. Yeah, I think if I'm lucky enough to produce more books, or I hope so, it will be a kind of, as you say, a kind of moment in time. Like if I say this is between 2021 and 2024, I guess. Maybe. I can't remember now. That must be exciting, and this just exists now in the world. Yeah, it's an artifact. For the rest of the time. And I think again, now I know it's finished. I didn't, when you were asking about how do you know it's done, or how do you know it's done? I just knew. I wasn't questioning it. I just knew. So when America bought it, they were like, "Oh, could we make some changes?" And I was like, "No, I can't go back into it now. It's finished. I can't get back into that same headspace now. It's complete." I think it's an artifact now. It's not an organic creative project for me. So that's not to say I don't love it. I'm not very proud of it. But it's not something that's occupying my subconscious anymore in the same way. Do you know what sort of changes America were asking for? Because I'm always fascinated by they wanted some more like fleshing out of the relationship, the triangle between Isabella, John, and not John, Paul. I forgot my own characters. There's only 2 characters in this. I've got names, and I forgot one. I just forgot one of them. Paul, Isabella.
And then the cleaner, the narrator.
Yeah.
I think they just wanted some more fleshing out of those sort of those transition moments.
Yeah.
But I think its flaws belong to it. Like I think that's what I was like. I could fix it because I agree with you that is a problem in the text. But it's like in that kind of time capsule thing. The flaws belong to it now.
Yeah, yeah.
So again, when I see reviews that are a bit critical, I'm not any less proud because it's that kind of snapshot of time of I can't go back and change it from the past. It's done now.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions at all? We've been going for about an hour now.
Yeah. Laziness? No, I'm only joking. I love Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier.
Because it says to her, that's a really intriguing name or an interesting
Yeah.
name. You never get to know what it is.
Yeah. I think there's the symbolically, it shows a lack of identity. So in Rebecca, she has no sense of self, does she? She's trying to merge psychically with De Winter and with Rebecca, and there's no boundaries of who she is, and she doesn't know who she is. And I think it is a vehicle for a young character that is struggling with who they are. And I think symbolically that is one reason. Another reason, perhaps, is that kind of psychic merging with myself and trying to find the voice and using a kind of untapped part of myself to bleed through. So I think, so again, it's not me. It really isn't. But you could say it's some kind of, Jekyll and Hyde weird version of myself without the name, you could argue. So I think it serves a dramatic function, that in the sense that we don't know who she is and she doesn't know either. And another part is laziness, or it just didn't feel right to give them a name. It didn't work. But then and again, I think with nameless characters, they become the everyman or the every person. If you don't give them a name, people project themselves. So I think that there was a function there.
Yeah, I really enjoyed the bit where it's sort of blanked out.
Yeah,
Cracked me up.
I stole that from Sorrow and Bliss. You read Sorrow and Bliss?
No.
Sorrow and Bliss is a really interesting book about mental health, and the character is suffering from an undisclosed mental health condition, and they do that. They blank out the diagnosis when she finally gets a diagnosis.
Yeah.
And I thought that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So I just stole that stylistically from her.
Anybody else have any questions at all? Hello.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought if I do the no paragraph thing again, it will, I don't know. I think, yeah, and I don't want to be that. I don't want to be boxed in. I want to be a chameleon, a literary chameleon. I want to be able to change. So it has got paragraphs. I'm finding it hard. No, that's not true. I think I've been trying to imitate. I'm imitating another book. I won't say what it is, but I'm not imitating the paragraph structure, but I'm imitating plot. So I think because I'm imitating another voice and another style, it's coming a bit more naturally. But I do think it is hard that when you're writing something, to finish a paragraph and then start a new one, and then you get excited about the paragraph you're writing, and oh no, it's finished. I have to start a new one. Each paragraph is a triangle. Is that Freytag triangle that start the paragraph, thesis, point, climax, falling action, everything's structure. But yeah, so it has got paragraphs, and maybe I'll do a verse novel next. I don't know.
As a reader, I like the shape of words over the computer, and I don't like reading stuff on Kindle as much because it's all bland. It's the shape of the words.
Yeah, I think there's something different about reading something electronically. I think Kindles have. I have a Kindle, but I also have a huge bookshelf as well. There is something different about holding it tangibly in your hand. Yeah.
We think so as a library.
Books don't tend to hurt so much when they come on your face and you come on your feet.
Yeah, I agree.
Is there an audio book out?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, I've forgotten her name. Charlie something. Very good. she did her best version of a Brummie accent for me.
Oh, really?
Because they apparently couldn't find a Brummie to do my audiobook for me.
There are no Brummies in the voiceover industry.
Wow, I think that made me really sad. I know.
I don't think you'd have been right.
It made me quite sad, really, that it's not something that voice actors feel like they have to.
Yeah.
It's not a common thing that. I don't know. Maybe I didn't push hard enough with the sound company or the audiobook company. Yeah.
Was it weird listening to it and having someone read it back to you in a different voice?
I didn't listen to it before it came out. They didn't send it to me.
Oh, right.
It's I think weird.
Yeah.
It's a different. Is it? I think the industry when it's somebody else's. It's weird that somebody else's job and their life is publishing your book, because I have no interest in corporate publishing world. I don't really doesn't really light my fire and stuff. So and I find other people's work people love reading about work, don't they? Like, I love reading about other people's jobs.
Yeah.
So I do find it fascinating, other people's stuff, but I also don't know how they work and stuff. Like, I don't know what people do all day in their jobs. What do people do?
We mostly just help people with printers in the library, sadly. But
Sorry, that sounded really bad. I know what people have meaningful jobs. I just I don't understand them.
Yeah.
I understand.
How long can it take to finish the second book?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't. I don't know how long it'll take me, because I'm discovering it, which is really inefficient. I'm about 14,000 words into it, which is not very much, really.
Yeah.
And if a normal book is about 80,000 words ish, it's going to take me a while, I think. So, yeah.
It is.
It's a lovely job to have, but it's not easy. It's work.
It's inspiring to hear when authors have, like you say, you work full time and you have to write around that. Because, it's very easy, especially when you're a kid and that sort of thing. You think authors live in mansions and run off to cabins for 3 months to write their yearly novel and that sort of thing. And it doesn't seem to be as much of a thing. We had a fantasy author in here, Stephen Arion, who was saying that 99% of authors do have at least a part-time job, because it's only that kind of blockbuster career for like 1% of people who could sell 1 million books a year.
Yeah, it's not a livable wage or a job. No, it's not. It's the way it is, I suppose.
Yeah.
But I think it's good to have a real job. Like, it grounds you.
Gives you more
material. I think if I was a full-time author, I think I would go insane. Like, I need people.
It would be like COVID again. You'd just be stuck in your house all day.
I don't think that would work out.
Yeah.
I know. I need to exist tangibly in the real world.
Yeah.
I think.
Yes. Right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. I've had a lovely time.
Thank you. It's been absolutely lovely to have you. And we've got some books for sale if any of you would like to book. And I'm sure you don't mind signing them as well.
Of course.
If that's okay.
I'll be happy to.
Thank you very much. That was
Thank
brilliant.
you.